It's another edition of WRAL Triangle at 2. I'm Mark Berg, and he is Luis Fernandez in the Queen City for the ACC tip-off event. And Luis, we get to discuss your beloved Carolina Tar Heels. You're an alum, and RJ Davis is among the players who is representing UNC at the ACC tip-off event. The reigning ACC Player of the Year. He's taken the Tar Heels to the championship game. What more does he have to accomplish as a player? And it's like he's going to go down as one of the most beloved Tar Heels of all time.
I mean, really, I think for RJ at this point, it's just the continued team success, right? They get a championship. That's, when you look at just the way he played last year, his scoring prowess, his ability to shoot. RJ Davis was one of those rare players last year in college basketball. When the ball left his hands, when he was beyond the arc, I was like, it's in. Just no hesitation. Yeah, that's going in. So really, I think all that's left for RJ is just to, do his best to try and see if he can get UNC another national championship. Which, I think they were in a good path set up to do that last year until Alabama came a knocking in the Sweet 16 and pulled off that upset over the top seeded Tar Heels.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a different look for Carolina, but remember too, because of the COVID season, this is RJ Davis's fifth year. I was a little bit surprised he didn't leave for the NBA. I'm sure he looked at the possibilities several times the last few years of how do I project as a pro? Perhaps NIL plays a factor, but with what he's done, I mean, you mentioned automatic from three, 39% clip. So pretty much every other time he puts it up, the ball's going in the hoop. And
that's super high volume too. You know what I mean?
He's averaging more than 20 points per game. Yeah.
And I think with RJ, like, I was not shocked that he decided to come back. I mean, it's, he is a smaller guard who can score a lot. And that is, I think, a lot more common at the next level. So, I think it makes the most sense for RJ. Hey, listen, stay at Chapel Hill, get a bag, and, continue to cement yourself in the history books. I think that makes a lot of sense. The question, though, but I'm kind of curious to see with UNC is obviously you lose Armando Bacot, who was there since the Carter administration. You know what I mean? Like
Roy Williams was the coach when he started.
Who was who was that guy in Kansas? The Kansas player
Perry Ellis.
Yes, Perry Ellis. Who they had like the black and white photos of like him playing like with like the peach baskets and stuff like that. Armando Bacot is not there anymore. So what does that front court look like? And I think, when you look at the roster, there are going to be a lot of question marks. Jae'Lyn Washinton and Jalen Withers are going to have to step up big. That's just kind of where the cards fell from a transfer portal perspective, from a recruiting perspective. They are going to need the players on the roster to step up majorly in the front court. They've got one of the best backcourts in the country. They have depth, between RJ Davis, Seth Trimble. Like, they have depth. They've got Cade Tyson coming in from Belmont, who shot the ball really well.
Don't forget my guy, Elliot Cadeau, either.
Elliot Cadeau, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, Drake Powell and Ian Jackson are freshmen coming off that are going to either be playing kind of like guard position or more like kind of winger position. So both very talented. I am and this is kind of a shout out to Sports Fan. If you get a chance to consume any content on the website, but Wes Moore, the NC State women's basketball head coach, said, they're very guard heavy this year. And he's like, okay, we're going to have to play some 4 guard lineups, maybe some 5 guard lineups. And when I look at this NC State team, this UNC team, I'm like, all right, how many guards can you get on the court?
Let's just run. Let's just get out and transition and run. In all seriousness, that might be your style of play if you're not getting what you need from the front court. And I do think it has to be a committee approach just for the production that you knew you were going to get from Armando Bacot.
Yeah, and they're in general, they're going to be a little undersized with some of those guards. So it's okay. How do you pick up that defense there? Seth Trimble coming back, I think, is really big for them defensively. He's someone who flashed so many times towards the back half of the season. Super excited to see his continued development. If Elliot Cadeau can be a threat shooting from the outside, I mean, obviously he still needs to develop that jump shot. But if he can do that and hit his free throws, the way the court just kind of opens up and creates so much more spacing, I think that would be big. But it's really going to come down to, what does the front court do? That's going to be the big question with UNC this year.
Lewis, I always love the new, and with Jackson as well, what can he do to help contribute towards this team? That's going to be what I'm looking at, because people look down the road in Durham and say, oh, the talented freshman class of Duke and Cooper Flagg and the big guy Mulak down low. UNC's got one in Jackson. 5-star prospect. I expect big things from him. Does he need to do everything right away? No. But can he be a contributor to this team? That's what I'm looking at to help out RJ Davis and company. Because like you said, in the backcourt, you're pretty much set. The front court, a bit of a question mark going into the 2024-25 season.
Yeah, it's like, I'm just really curious to see what they do this year, like what their style is, how they play basketball, just the roster construction.
And
I think
is
that's
this
honestly,
the mold of what is this the mold of what Hubert Davis wants to do?
That's another question. It's every year that passes since Hubert Davis became the head coach, he's shaping this team to be more and more in his image, and what do those continued developments look like? So I think it's going to be exciting. I think that this UNC team is going to put up a lot of points, and I think they are going to play a very fun style of basketball. How does that translate to the defensive end? How does that translate, in the big picture? Because, with UNC, that's just kind of the nature of the beast. If you're not, a top 4 seed and competing for national championships, people get disappointed.
This is the portion of the program where I flex Luis Fernandez's muscles. Check out his content over on WRALSportsFan.com. Brian Murphy will be at the ACC tip-off as well. So a lot of great content, but all the Triangle teams, men's and women's.
Yep. We got plenty to catch on there. Make sure you go to WRALSportsFan.com. We've got content and information on all 3 of the women's teams. Remember, NC State coming off the Final Four run. UNC kind of in a lot of transition as they're making some changes. And then Duke also coming off a Sweet 16 run. How do they continue to develop? And then, we'll have everything from NC State, UNC, and Duke men's basketball. No Cooper Flagg at ACC tip-off, but I'm sure it will still be quite a fun couple of hours in Charlotte this week, Mark.
And we talk about that on another episode of WRAL Triangle and 2. Check that out for Duke. We'll also have a preview for NC State. I'm Mark Bergen. He's Luis Fernandez. Thank you for watching WRAL Triangle.